All right, welcome everyone. We are going to expand on creating a visual brand identity. And so I'm going to start by going through Clara's work for a few minutes before we go into the different sections I was referring to. All right, so this is logo, Mousy Clothiers. Oh, is this Clothiers or Clothier?
Yes.
Oh, so the thread is like the S. Nice.
Yes.
I like it. Very nice. And this has a gradient. We definitely work in black and white. Sweet, sweet, very delicious. Well, I'm not a fan of this one though. I prefer the first one. I like this. I see what you did with the needle and the thread. Very nice. Very nice. So honestly, I think for this, right? Okay, let me start with this. This I love it because it's really simple, very straightforward, it's very, very easy to see. The only challenge that I have with this is the fact that the S, people might not realize that the S is part of the words, right? Although it's like a clever way of putting the S with the words. So it works in that sense, but it can be a limitation for some people, especially because it makes the name, it can be inconsistent when people are calling the name, right? Just because they are reading different things. So that's something you should consider. Same thing here, but I really like the idea as well. And I like the integration of needle and thread and all of that. So what you can do, okay. Let me see. Depending on what it was made of. Oh, okay. So it's
an element.
An element, yeah. So we can't even edit it that much. All right. So for this, I like this one actually. I just like the fonts. But I think what I don't like is this. I don't know why. It's just a personal dislike, not a functional dislike. And I think it's because it's like a very easy way. It's like a shortcut-ish way of expressing a female brand, right? So
Yes, kind of cliche.
yeah, it's very cliche. That's the word. So for this, right, I would suggest this, right, without this, right? So you have the mousy clothiers, and then I think the letters might be spaced out too much, maybe just a little too much. So you want to reduce the letter spacing a bit so that, yeah, right. Well, not a bit actually to the regular, because I see you raise it from 0 to 53, right? So what you then do is zoom in. Okay, so you can bring them closer. And I like how you made the C. So this works as CLOTH. Now this is more visible than the other one because people expect that this is a C, right? So it actually works because this is CLOTHIAS, because obviously you can see it's a clothing brand, right? So before you even like read it, you can tell that it's Clothiers, right? So I really like this. Yeah, so it's like same thing. Oh yeah, so you did that here actually. So imagine this just with the closer text, right? So it feels more compact. Since it's a script fonts don't do it with a lot of space. Sans, serif fonts, you can work with a lot of space on those types of fonts. All right, so I'm just going to close this.
Yeah, so I was thinking like, because I tried to reduce it, like put it at the edge, and it wasn't looking visible.
Putting
So I
what
was
at the
thinking
end.
if this will work, like when I reduce the size of the logo, right? And if I want to just put it at the corner of the page or something, it wasn't looking visible.
Oh, okay. Well, majorly because the script font, right? For that, it might not exactly work every single time. So for this kind of logo now, right? If you put it at the edge, because it's a flat logo, right? You most likely won't put it on one end. You probably won't put it in the middle, right? And it will not be too small that it will not be visible. Do you get? So except you want to create a variation where you actually have something like this. Oh, I just realized that Canva has upgraded. So see what happens when you are moving and copying something. It starts to show what happened. It was just showing just now. It was showing.
Do the distance from the edge.
Yeah, it was showing distance. This is really, I just noticed it today. So if you're duplicating this, for example, yeah, so it starts to show the distance from the edge. So you can use this to create your uniform distance without making a ruler, right? Can you see this?
Yes.
Yeah, so if you make this,
Yes.
right, and you duplicate the next one, just make sure it's 30 again. You're sure they're the same size,
Nice.
right? And then you can just start from there. Instead of doing that, just continue like this. And you can do your 30 and you're good to go. Instead of creating a ruler, this is really beautiful.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Hi, David. Sorry, is that the Alt key you're pressing to get the equal distance?
No. I'm not using anything to get equal distance. So I'm just pressing Option or Alt to duplicate. I'm not getting equal distance. I'm moving it to get the distance by myself with the ruler. So I'm trying to get, I used 30. So I'm trying to get it to 30 to make it equal distance.
So because I'm trying to wonder what you're doing or pressing that's making the pink line that is coming out to give you those readings. Exactly.
Oh, no, it's an update. I was just explaining it's an update from Canva.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's an update from Canva. It just started. You
So
know,
how do we
normally,
get that update? Is it just going to come on when we on our account when we go to
yeah, on the
online?
website, if you go on the website, that's what's going to show now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you don't have to do anything, it's just like that. So yeah, this actually works. Like even if you bring it down and you make it small, it's still going to be clear enough. It just means you won't make it too small that it won't be visible. Do you get?
Yes, thank you.
All right. Any other question before I proceed? Okay, how many are we now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so we can continue then. So we were all right. So now that how many of you don't have your client's logo? Joanne, do you have
I
your
don't
client's
have.
logo ready?
Yes, I do.
Dara, you have yours. Ebon, you have yours. Edna, do you have yours? Kodian.
Yes, I do.
All right, Thelma, you have yours as well, yeah?
Hello, I do not have mine yet.
Okay. All right, no problem, but we're still going to move on. So I'm just going to continue with the logo I was designing for myself and use that as an example, right, for my brand, for the brand that we're going to be creating. All right, so let's assume that I'm using DRDS, Davido's Image Design Studio, right? I'm going to share my screen now so you can see what is going on here, right? Can you see that? Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, so this is my logo. Now, what are we going to start with creating? We're going to create all the different brand collaterals that we need for our brand. All right. And what are different brand collaterals? We're going to create a a mini brand guide. All right. So what does the mini brand guide look like? I'm going to show you something similar to what I did for a client. Okay, so I'm going to import it on Canva now so that you can see it. So this is what it looks like, right? And if you look closely, you can see that this document has so what it does is it has the main logo, right? Let me know if you can see clearly and you understand what's happening here. Hello?
Yeah, you can zoom in actually.
Okay, so share culture, this is the major logo, right? And then here I have like a logo alternative, and then here's the favicon. What's the typography? Quick Sans regular, Quick Sans bold, bold only 72 book, then bold only 72 bold. Then these are the brand colors. These are the two primary colors and these are the secondary colors. Okay, so this is what I have in my mini brand guide, right? So it means that whoever is using this brand is going to stick to these colors. So you can see the hex color code like I mentioned earlier, and then the typography. So anyone that's designing something relating to this brand is going to stick to these fonts. All right, anything relating social media, branding, logo design, all of those, right? So we're going to create our brand guide, right? And then we'll create our letterhead and all of that. All right, so does anyone have an idea what a brand guide looks like?
I have no idea.
Come again.
No idea.
You have an idea?
I don't have an idea.
Okay, does anyone have an idea? Okay, anyway, I'm just going to continue. So on Canva, right, there exists some branding templates in that regard, right? So all you need to do is come to, and you can make a complete one, right? And like I said earlier, you don't have to reinvent the wheel if you can just duplicate it. All right, so come here, create a new design, right? Create a new design. What are we looking for? Brand guideline. So yeah, this is a brand guideline presentation, right? Now, when you open brand guideline presentations, right, you see different things. So if you open this, for example, you would see different pages of what the brand guide looks like. For example, let's open primary fonts, right? Okay, so let me apply all 23 pages, right? So you can see what it looks like. Okay, so this is the name of the brand, right? It's a gym, official Ashos gym companion app. It's for an app. Okay, and so there's brand identity, there's logo, there's colors, there's fonts, there's images and applications. Okay, so this is like about the brand. Okay, this is like their brand message, you know, and the idea behind the brand, and these are brand this is like the brand communications, right? So values like tone of voice, the things that set the brand apart, right? Because this is not a branding master class, right? I don't have the time to go into all of those branding elements. For this class, I just need you to learn how to express yourself visually. Okay. So then logo, there's a primary logo, there's main logo, the secondary logo, then the alternate logo. Okay. And then there's a primary symbol for the logo elements, right? And then there's color scheme. So the color scheme here is just black and white, obviously. And then there's a rational design for logo placement, right? Primary fonts, secondary fonts, font combinations, font hierarchy. So there's a size for header, there's a size for body, right? Family of colors for CMYK, for RGB, CMYK, and RGB, right? And then acceptable combinations for print or digital, right? Reflective of the brand DNA. So the types of images that this brand represents. And then based on brand colors, you can use this kind of backgrounds in your design because of the type of brand that it is. And then for digital formats, this is what it also looks like, okay, in terms of application. And then printed material, you can make a mock-up on the image, right? So you can see that it's a basic image with the logo on top of it, right? And then simple layouts, see the same exact type of background that you showed earlier, right? Same thing here, contact information, and that's it, right? So that's one type of brand. Obviously, the brand is a very, very simple brand in terms of color and all of that. So we're just going to look at another brand and see what it looks like. Okay, so this is another brand, right? Let me know if you get lost at any point, right? So there's table of content for all the different things. So the logo history, evolution of the brand, right? The name of the brand is the Bure Cup, right? So the logo has evolved from this to this to this and then this. And then all about the logo. So this is like details about the logo. So you can send something like this to your clients, right? When you've done a lot of research. Now, how do you do stuff like this? Very simple. To be honest with you, this is not algebra. Just go online, learn about what it is and adapt it, right? Obviously, there's a level of research that you can do that is going to give you all the information that you need, okay? But you can start with a basic level understanding, all right? So symbols and meanings, you write based on the inspirations that you have for your logo. And because this course is focused on expressing yourself visually, I couldn't go into details of many other details about getting your concepts, creating a stylescape, a landscape, a mood board, all of those things, right? Those things are things that you can also do, that you should do in creating a brand, right? But those are things that you need to read up on, right? And you can learn by yourself by reading online, right? I'm doing a lot of practical hands-on for graphic communication because it's something that you most likely don't learn by just looking, something you learn by doing, all right? So for symbols and meanings, you can just have all of them, itemize them. You can see the very, very beautiful alignments in all these images, right? So these are the colors, smoke, rust, and coal, right? And you have their hex codes. And then logo font. So the official font is Mark, right? Then they have exclusion zones. Exclusion zones are the amount of space that you need to have before you put something beside your logo, okay? So it means your logo, whenever you place your logo, should not, so for example, this logo now, if you have it, you cannot put the logo here, like this. Do you understand? What it means is that if you want to put the logo anywhere close to the edge, you must have this amount of space, 5x. Do you understand? This is the amount of space that you need to have before you put anything close to the logo. So you cannot put something here. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Let me know if you understand what I'm saying.
I understand.
Right, so that's the point of explaining this thing, right? So you cannot put, even if you're putting 4 logos together, you make sure that there's space between that logo and your logo. And this is the minimum space that you must have. Do you get? So that's what an exclusion zone is. Okay.
I have a question.
All right.
So about the fonts, Canva has different fonts. And then you said this is like a guide for what Like if another designer wants to make a poster or a design for that brand. So how do they identify those fonts if they're not using Canva? Because
Come again.
I'm not
Come
sure if
again.
all the fonts are the same everywhere. How would they identify those fonts in other apps? Like if they're not using Canva,
Oh no, no,
because
the
I'm not
fonts
sure
are the
it's the
same
same.
everywhere.
Okay. But
Yeah,
like what if it is not on that app?
they will download it.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a place where you can download fonts. I'll share many of those resources with you. Places where you can download fonts, where you can download pictures, where you can download um, images, all those things. I'll share them with you on the WhatsApp group.
Okay, we can upload font onto
Yeah, but
Canva.
only on the pro version, not on the basic.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can upload your own fonts. So if somebody uses, if you see someone's brand guide and they use the font that is not on Canva, you can upload the font on Canva and you will use it on Canva. But it's only for pro, not for basic. All right, so let me proceed. Right, and then logo variations. So this is vertical. Remember what I was explaining to you, how you can have a vertical version, a horizontal version, and then the icon version without the text. All right, and then logo positioning. Save distance to put your logo in, right? Square, landscape. Can you see the line I'm always showing you, right? Where it's like never too close to the edge. So save distance to put your logo. If it's in portrait, this is how you should put it, right? Landscape, square. Okay. Logo application. How do you want to use the logo? You ensure these are similar examples of how you can apply the logo, right? Obviously, you have to put a white logo on a dark background, a white logo on a dark background, a dark logo on a white background, a dark logo on a white background. All right. And then reminders, things that you should not do on the logo. Don't change the color of the logo. Don't crop the logo. Don't add shadows or effects to the logo, right? And then reminders, some other things, you should not rotate the logo. Don't put the logo over another illustration, and don't reduce the opacity, right? So basically, right? So let me know if you understand what the brand guideline looks like.
David, I can't even see your screen, and the network was bad for a bit, so I don't even know what you were saying.
Oh, is that happening to everyone?
About the hex, I don't know if it happened to everyone, but I stopped where you said the maximum hex, maximum numbers before you can put anything beside the logo. I understood from that part, but I didn't hear anything after that.
Oh, okay. So that was on. Can you see my screen now?
I can see your screen now.
Okay, yeah. So that's where I was explaining safe distance between putting exclusion zones, like where you should put your logo. Okay. So after that, they just showed logo variations. So how your logo can be represented, right, vertically, right? I explained this earlier when I was designing, when I was explaining how you can use your logo in different forms, right? You can have your logo vertical where you have your text under, have it horizontal where you have your text beside, have it as just an icon with no text at all. Okay, and that's if you use a combination mark, because this is a combination mark logo. All right. And then logo positioning as well. So they've created a system to explain how you should position your logo when it's a square, when it's landscape, when it's portrait. Obviously not too close to the edge, like I've always been trying to explain earlier about how you want to have space between your logo and the edge of your artboard. Okay, so yeah, that's something else that they are applying here. And then logo application rules on positioning your logo. So obviously something that's very clear here is using the white logo on the dark background, the white logo on the dark background, dark logo on the white background, then dark logo on the white background, or the bright background, right? And then some other reminders for things not to do to your logo. Okay, so don't change the color, don't crop the logo, don't add shadow effects, don't rotate the logo, don't put the logo over another illustration, and then don't use tint or opacity. Okay, that's pretty much it. Are you clear?
David, I think it's by you, or can we like go over them on our own on Canva? Are they in Canva?
Yeah, they're on Canva. I showed you how I found this on Canva. I just Googled brand guideline presentations. You'll see all of them. Do you understand?
Yes, I do. Thank you.
All right. So So basically, this is what the brand guideline presentation looks like. Okay. But there's also a brand, you can have a more concise version of this, right? In the form of a brand sheet, right? So for your assignment, obviously, right, you're going to create a brand sheet and the brand guideline, all right? And then, so we're going to create some other collaterals for your brand. What are the other collaterals that we're going to create? We're going to go over them right now. Are we ready? So number one, we're going to start with business cards. Okay. How do you create your business cards? Very, very easy. Is everybody following me at this point? Is anybody lost? Am I free to proceed?
Yes, you are.
All
I'm
right.
following.
Okay. So you want to create a business card. What do you do? Business card. All right. And then, I mean, if you want a vertical business card, fine. If you want a rounded business card, fine. If you want, I just want to do a regular business card. Okay. So I'm just going to click on business card. Now, obviously, you don't have to stress about the sizing and all of that. Canva just shows you the size, all right? And then you have many templates that you can choose from, okay? So depending on the type of business card you want to use, right? So this is something that you can adapt. For business cards, you don't necessarily always have to start from the scratch because something already exists. So, right, no need to do all of that. Okay. So, once you find something that resonates with what you want to do, you can figure it out yourself, right? So, I'm just going to pick one and work with it. All right. Let's say my brand colors are black and white. Yeah. So I'm going to apply this. Now, before I start to do all of this, I'm going to have created my brand guideline. All right. So let me create my brand guideline right here, right now, because you're going to do yours as well. Okay. Are we good?
Yes.
All right. So I'm just going to look at this. I think I'm going to use this one because I just like this one instead. Okay, then I'm going to come up with the fonts that I want to use. Okay, and the colors that I want to use. Obviously, my logo is black and white, right? So I'm just going to change the color of this to white. All right, depending on what your brand color is. Okay, now obviously this template is tweakable, so feel free to tweak as much as you want. Okay, so I don't want this to be bold and I want this to be smaller. Okay, brand review, brand overview. Okay, our brand logo, right? And then this is not my logo, this is my logo. So I'm just going to come here, copy. I remember what I told you. I want you want your logo to be able to work on different backgrounds. Okay, so I'm just going to, and you see where I'm putting my logo right at the corner up there, not at the edge. Please watch out for these minor things. Well, they're not minor, but I don't want you making those mistakes. Okay, so I'm going to change the color of the text as well, right? So this is my logo, right? Now, what is going to be my okay, let's just continue, right? So the meaning of the logo, mark of David Rotimi Design Studio. Okay, because that's the ideas. I'm basically just adapting these templates because you don't need to invent the wheel. Okay, changing the color, and then so I'm going to change the style of this to have light and dark. I mean, normal fonts and then a bold version instead of white and goldish. All right, so logo history, blah blah blah, all of this. Okay, logo history, the evolution of the Ultimate Design Studio logo. So I don't have an evolution, so I'm just going to delete this because I'm starting afresh. All right, so it's unnecessary. I'm just going to come here, copy my logo. Okay, and then about the logo, right? Obviously, this is something that I've centralized my logo, okay? And I can just rotate this to align with the direction of my logo, just to make it look interesting. Well, not to make it look interesting, to also make it look aligned, because my text is not obviously not straight, or I can actually just leave it the way it is to show that my logo is not straight. Okay, so whichever one you prefer is also fine, right? This is space for you to write anything you want. Since this is 2, I'm just going to change this to 3, right? So what do I want to write about the logo? David, what's in me? Design Studio. Okay, let me know if you are following me. So remember what I said, I'm making different. I'm making everything white and black, but I'm making some regular and then some bold. Okay, so about the logo, and then I want what's this size? Let me make this size 90. Okay, and then this is 120. 120. Okay, so I'm just going to keep that consistently. All right, 90, then 120. Okay, so obviously that's too big. So I'm just going to reduce them together because they have the same scale now, right? So about the logo, okay. There we go. So obviously you have to change this as well to DRDS, all right, or whatever your logo is, okay. And then symbols and meanings, crown, lines, mountain, valley, depending on your logo, right? Depending on the meanings of the things that, oh, I need to charge my laptop. Sorry, please hold on. All right, guys, sorry for the break. Okay, so here you're just going to change and add all the things that matter to your logo. If you don't have any symbols or meanings, just leave the stage, but I believe you should. Okay, so here it's pretty straightforward. Like I said, for this design, for this course, I'm basically focusing on your ability to communicate visually, not necessarily all of the strategy and coming up with all the brand names and all of that, okay? So I'm just going to delete all of this because I don't have all of this, all right? So what are the colors? The DRDS colors, right? And I'm going to make this on bold and then make this white, okay? So black is obviously, so let's just say black, all right? And then white. Obviously, because the background is black, so I'm going to create an outline by adding a rectangle. Oh, sorry. No. Okay. So I'm going to make this to fit into that page, then bring this down. So let's drag it down. Right. And then change the color to white. Okay. And then have another rectangle under this so that I can show white under so that the black text will be able to show. Okay. So I'm going to change this to white, drag this under, and then change the colors of everything. Obviously, I drag them down by changing the order, by changing the position. Okay, so to backwards. But now I'm bringing them forward because I need them to be on top. Okay. So I'm changing the color of this to black text. Right. So that they can show on the words. Okay, and that's because our background is black. If it wasn't black, this wouldn't be necessary. Okay. So you can add all the English you want to add. Don't forget to always change this, right? I'm moving quickly because I don't want to waste a lot of time. All right. So the official logo font for my logo will be, this is Monito Sounds Regular. So whatever the logo that I'm deciding on, let's say I'm going to stick with open source bold, right? Because I actually like it. So I'm just going to stick with this. I hope it's a free font. Let me see. Oh yeah, I think it's free. So open source light and open source bold. Okay, so this is my official fonts. All right. And then obviously the same clear space that I mentioned earlier, except this time it's going to be different from my logo. So I'm just going to copy my logo. Okay. And because mine is round, so mine is curved, sorry. I'm going to do the exact same thing. And adjust them individually. Okay. Sorry. $15 degrees. All right. So the same thing for this. 15 degrees, that will be 105. All right. Same thing for this. I'll change it by 15. Okay. Cancel the image. Then do the exact same thing. Right. But for this logo, actually, I don't have to curve it. Okay. So I can actually keep it straight and just bring it down because many times the location, the orientation of my logo is not going to change, and everything that is going to be beside it is still going to have their straight orientation. So I just need to drag this up. to stop at the edge where my logo stops. Okay. So there you go. So I'm just going to recreate this because I'm not sure what they used here. No, it's not editable, so I'm just going to use this. Change this to white. Okay, this is too big. I'll just use my lines. Okay. Regular straight line. Stop the stress. So I'm going to reduce the line width to like 2. Okay. And then I'll do this. Okay. Now I'm going to duplicate this. Let's say the space is 55. I'm just going to retain that amount of space. Bring it to the center. Right. And keep my clear space text here. Right. I'm going to delete this. Select both, duplicate, and rotate 90 degrees. And do the exact same thing, except let me cut, then remove this. Okay, same thing for this. Right, so I'm just going to paste it. Okay, first space is going to be in the middle, right? And then select everything, duplicate, or cut, then delete this, paste it back, select this, delete this first, select all 3 of them, press my alt down, and do the exact same thing. Okay, so what I'm going to do is use my hand to adjust. Okay. I think this is what I should have actually done earlier, but I was selecting both of them together, so it wasn't moving. How much time do we have? So I'm going to finish this up really quickly. I'm assuming that you all know how to do this. Without wasting much time, I don't want to continue doing this, so we can move on to other things. Okay. Right. So okay. So yeah, here you do. You have your logo. Save distance to put your logo in. Right. Obviously change the color to white. This will be less bold and this will be much smaller. Okay, switch on. Then logo variation. We don't have a logo variation because it's a letter mark. Right? So I'm going to delete logo variations. Same thing with this. You can just put your logos on the different locations, right? For me, for portraits, what I'm going to do for portraits is I don't want my logo to be on the left or on the right if it's on portrait. I want it to be in the center. Okay, so that means anybody that's designing with my logo, right, in any situation where they have to use it in portrait mode, they must put my logo in the center, not right or left or anywhere for me like that. Okay. So what do I do? Or no, I want it on the edge actually, on the right edge. On the top left edge or on the top bottom right edge or top left edge. Okay. Now, the best thing to do something like this is select it with your clear space. Okay. So that you're double sure of the location. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to lock this so I can select this together. Copy. Let me know if you have any questions so far.
I do have questions.
Okay.
Please, this where to put your logo in on this period or whatever. Is it that you can put it anywhere where this logo is, or it must be on all the 4 points or all the 2 points?
Come again.
You know, for example, this brewery cup, the logo placement. Like, okay, for example, where you have David Rotimi now, must you put it, if you're going to put the logo in a portrait mode, must the logo be on those 2 spots you put if it's in portrait, or it must be on any of the points where the logo is?
On any of the points, not on all of them.
Okay.
Yeah. So that means for this logo now, if you are designing anything in landscape, you cannot put the logo in the middle. Do you understand?
Yes.
Exactly. For this, if it's going to be in the middle, it needs to be in the center.
Okay.
Do you get? So yeah. So I'm just going to do this with the clear space and bring it to the left edge. Take it down, and there we go. Right? So I'm just going to drag this down to ensure that the space is kept. Oh, deleted my logo. That mistake. All right. Okay. So there you have it, right? So basically you would have to do that yourself, okay? Because of time, I'm just going to move on. So I think I can actually have them on all 4 corners because it's not exactly wrong. Well, it's something that I want to permit, right? So I'm going to permit it by taking this to the back and then deleting the rest. Sorry, the rest of this. Okay, so I'm just going to lock this. I do not duplicate this. Okay, so obviously you will have to add it with your ruler just to make sure that it's on the exact edge. Okay. All right. So yeah, I think the safe space is safe enough. Okay, so I'll do the same for this. Okay. Maintain my safe spaces. Make sure that it's centralized. Bring this down, right? Same thing for this. Trying to rush, so I want to move really quickly. Okay. Can also be in the center. So there we go. Okay. Yeah, so I can even, okay, so I won't have it here. Yeah, so good stuff. All right. Now, logo application, rules, paper positioning, okay? So you probably write a lot of things about how you want your images to be placed. For example, let's assume that I'm using a different type. For this brand now, for example, most of their pictures are black and white because that's the color of the brand. Okay, so for my photos, let's assume that I'm doing something similar, right? Because I have a lot of black and white, right? I'm going to, so it means that for this brand now, most of their photo treatments will be in black and white, and then you have to apply the logo. Okay, so for me, I'm going to try to apply my logo here now. All right, and I'm just going to bring it up, change the color to black. Change the color of the text to black. Change the color of the text to black. Okay, so increase it just a little. Okay, so it can be here, right? Obviously, this is a nice place to put it, but because I want to create some harmony, there's a lot of pictures here, and I want it to be on this side instead of making it look like there's a lot here. Okay, and then maybe if I'm going to have text here, right, based on the kind of social media images I'll be having. Okay, so imagine it was a black image, right? Or black and white. So obviously the dark side of the image, right, is going to be where the white logo will be placed, or the bright side of the image will be where the dark logo will be placed. Do you understand? And the reason is very simple: contrast. Yeah. Everybody understands that, yeah? Everybody understands? Okay, good. So I'm going to paste this again and drag this up here, right? Obviously white and black. Okay. And then same thing here. Imagine I was going to use this exact image. I would obviously use the black logo. Okay. So there we go, right? Logo application and blah, 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 blah. So same thing for this. Don't change the color. If it's black, you either make it black or white. Don't add any other color. We only use the colors in the palette. Don't crop the logo. Don't add shadows. Don't rotate the logo. Don't put another thing over it. Don't use tint opacity, right? And there we go, right? That's it. Okay. So now I'm done with my brand overview. All right, what do I do next? I want to make my business card. Any questions before I proceed to business cards?
I don't have any question.
All right, so let's move on. So our brand colors are obviously black and white, so we don't have any issues here. What do I do? I'm obviously going to change this to what? Open source. That's my brand font, right? Open source. I'm going to use semi-bold for the name. So what do I have here? David. That's me. Right here, I'm going to use the same open source, but I want to use it in light. Communication designer, right? This is an icon that I'm not sure that I love yet. So let me find something that I like. Obviously, it's going to be white. So I'm just going to go to elements. The resume design studio is design related. So I'm just going to search design. Obviously, I don't want to be too cliche. So what do I want to use? What is a bulb? Because I'm full of bright ideas, right? So let's assume that's my concept. Obviously, this is not my logo, just has my name here and all of that. Okay, so what are the things that I offer? I'm going to use my brand fonts. Now, another thing also, you can have your secondary fonts. Okay, so if I go back to my presentation, right, where I have my fonts, right, official logo font is open source gold, right? I can duplicate and then have a secondary font, right? Secondary font. What do I want secondary font to be? What is serif font? Maybe I'll use playfair. Right? Playfair display. Okay. So playfair display is my secondary font. Okay. All right. Now, so I'm just going to come here. So if I'm working with any other thing that is not going to be in a sans font, I'm just going to use playfair because that's my secondary font. All right. So I'm not permitted to use any font that is not playfair, display, or open source. Okay, are we good? And then personally, I would have aligned this to the right because I want this thing to feel like a good spine. Okay, so work with me. I don't want to work with me. I'll say let's talk. All right, let's talk. Obviously, I'm going to change this font to source. Open source. Let's talk. All right, then I'm going to use the open source here. All right, reduce the size. Okay. Mobile number, address, put my email, blah, 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 blah. Now, there's nowhere where my logo is. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to reduce the size of this. Okay. Drag this to the right. Right. I'll delete this and have my logo here instead. Okay. So I'm just going to repeat the same thing here. Make this white. All right. So this is the logo of my company. This is my brand. Position middle. Okay. And then centralize everything. All right. Good stuff. Okay. Are we good so far? Or you know what?
Sir.
Okay, so I'm just going to change this to playfair because I think it's more interesting in a sense, and it's going to create a nice contrast with my heavily serif sans design type thing. Okay, so just a nice contrast between sans serif, then serif. Okay, serif, sans serif, sans serif. All right. So yeah, that's where I am. So now I'm done my business card. What do I do next? I want to create some social media designs that talk about what I do. Okay, so let's say I want to start with Instagram. Okay, what do I do? Very simple. Come home, and then what do I do here? Instagram post. Okay, obviously there'll be a lot of templates, right? Let's say I want to talk about what I do, right? What I do is design. Like I said, one of the best places you can get images that are outside Canva is outside Canva. Okay, so let's say I have a picture of, what do I want to write? I want to write, talk to me about design. Okay, so that's going to be my caption. Now, I'm going to use my playfair display to write that because it seems like it's an interesting thing. So talk to me about design, right? I'm creating what I want to be the most conspicuous things here about design. Right? So I'm going to keep them on 2 lines, centralize them to the left. Okay. I hope you're following. I hope I'm not too fast. Well, since you've been designing for so long, I don't think this is going to be too fast for you. Okay. So talk to me about design. I'm going to make this in Playfair.
David, please have a question.
Yeah.
You know, when you were designing your brand, whatever, where you have the type of fonts that you're going to be using for your brand, it was Playfair. Them are using Playfair because it is like the signature font for your brand, or you at this point you can tweak it whatever you want.
Well, so I have a primary and a secondary font, so I can use either of the two of them.
But it must be, you cannot change and say you want to do something else outside, no matter what.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Okay.
So now the reason why is so that across board, anytime people see that combination of fonts, they can most likely attribute it to your brand, especially when it's also accompanied with a color scheme. So if people see like Playfair display and open source in black and white formats, first thing they think is DRGS, right? If your brand is a little different and your color is red and you're using the exact same font, it will be different from mine. Do you understand? So here I'm going to use open source here. Right, open source semi-bold. Okay, so talk to me about design. Right now, I want to use an image of design. Obviously, there are a lot of images. Let's see this. This is a pro image. Now, if I'm using this image, for example, I remember where I said you can get images from outside Canva. So I'm going to go outside Canva very soon, right? But I just want to do this really quickly. Now, like this is not hard to read, but it's not as easy to read as it should be. Okay, so what I want to do is make it easier to read. I'll create a rectangle, create a black overlay to ensure that the text is very easy to read without any distractions. Okay. So you can see how much clearer it is now just by adding the overlay. Okay. So talking about design. Now I want to add my picture. All right. So let me go up to the internet. Okay. Find a different image. Where do I want to check? Raw pixels or on Splash? Well, there's raw pixel. Okay, so I'm just going to search black and, oh, I like this picture. Okay, so black and white. So I like this too. So what I want to do is use some of the images that I'm seeing to, do the design that I like. All right, so I'm going to use this. I like the abstraction, so I'm going to copy it. I just right click and click copy. I'll come to my Canva. Okay. And then, so I'm just going to duplicate this, replace the image, paste. Now here, obviously, I don't need the overlay again because the background is very black. Okay. So, all right. Now, what do I want to do? If I want more elements of this part to show, I'm just going to do this. And I'm going to bring my text up, and maybe bring them to the right actually, because I want my text to be aligned. Okay. So talk to me about design, and then I want to have my picture here. Now this is where I'm going to have my logo. Okay. So where do I copy my logo from? I have my logo here already. I'm just going to copy it. Okay. Good. Okay. 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 And then I'm doing this because I'm going to have an image here. Okay, so I want to use a frame. What frame should I use? Let me use this frame, okay? Or no, let me use this frame because I have triangular shapes here. Okay. Although this looks like a diamond, not like a triangle. So let's see how that goes. So I'm just going to copy my image from my downloads and paste it in my design. There's a picture of myself. It's coming, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. All right, so I'm trying to find an image to use. Okay, so sorry. Oh yeah, I should have pictures here. So let's say I'm going to use this one. All right, I'm just going to import it by clicking on it, put it in this image. Obviously, this picture doesn't work well, so I'm just going to select this instead and use this, right? I can change the arrangement, okay? And then there we go, right? If I wanted to make it more interactive, I can just remove the background. Or another thing I can do right now is even increase it and let design go over it, because you still have the contrast that you want, okay? And then just to make it look more interesting, I can actually add a triangle on top of my image to make it feel. Now I'm just creating designs. I'm creating these designs based off of the inspiration of what I have in my normal design, in the background that I have. Okay, so I just added this to give it, I added this triangle here to just give it a nice effect. This is layered on top of this, and then this is layered on top of this. Okay, meanwhile, it's just a picture on the background with a triangle on top of it. So your job many times is just to create an impression of something that might not necessarily be there. Okay, so let me make this a little bigger. Okay, and then this a little smaller. Okay, I don't want it to cover too much. Okay, or I can actually just let this go, right, and keep this outside there so that it's very conspicuous. Okay. Now I don't know which is correct. I'm very pronunciation, but I think about design. So let me just make everything small. Sorry. Small D. Okay. So increase the line spacing just a little, was too much. Okay, so yeah, now I have a social media design. All right. Any questions?
There could be more details on this poster, right?
Come again.
Should we add more details to this poster, or this is all like we should do?
Well, it depends. Like right now, what I'm just doing is I'm just showing you how you can just like create stuff for your design, okay, for your business. Some posters don't need those details. Some others need those details. All right. So for this, I think I want to add the details actually. I didn't plan to before, but I think it'd be good to add the details. So let me add the details. So text. Name, what's the email address, right? dr@deliverytome.com. Okay. Let's align this to the right. Okay. So I'm just going to do this email address, phone number, and then Instagram. Right? Now I have all of this. Okay. There are many places I can put it. I can either put it here, right? But I don't want it to mess with these triangles. Or I can put it up here. Or I can just put it here. Right. So it has that similar to that. Do you remember that design I told you to replicate, the minimalist one, where it feels like they had text on all the edges? Okay, so we'll do something similar here, right? Except this time, now this is going to actually be clear, right? In the sense that you can see there's like good enough contrast, but obviously it can be better. Okay, so I'm just going to come to elements, Instagram icon. Right. Here's the free. Okay, remember what I say. Make sure that your icon is quite sizable in compared to your text, not too big and not too small. Okay, then phone icon. And don't forget your business is probably going to be, should definitely be different from mine, depending on who your client is. So ensure that you design something that is suitable. Okay, so free. I'm just going to change the color to white. And that's just because my brand colors are black and white. Now, it does not mean that I can never use a colored image, right? Although it's possible based on some brand guides might be stricter than some others. Okay, so you want to ensure that you stick to whatever the brand guide says. So if, for example, like, I mean, the image is colored, right? But every other thing still has huge elements of black and white, right? So sometimes there's like very tiny room to actually like do something that is off, which should happen at no time actually. But depending on the situation, depending on what the purpose might be. For example, if I'm trying to represent something that in its natural self is a colorful element, right? I can go out of my way to make it colorful. For example, imagine that I was doing a post about a peacock, right? It would not make any sense for me not to make the peacock color, because the whole concept of a peacock is literally about the color of the peacock. All right, so you want to have like some level of flexibility while you stick to the brand guides, depending on what your constraints are or what your own personal rules are for your brand. Okay, any questions so far? So what I'm doing now is I'm trying to create a dark underlay, right, that I want to be a little transparent, so that it still makes my text very visible. It ensures that the details that I want to have here are very visible. So now I'm changing the position to make sure that it's under. Okay. Are you following me so far? I have not lost anybody yet.
Yes, they are.
Okay. So depending on what your brand needs, so I'm just going to stick with 3. Do the exact same thing. 1, 2. Jumping from 2 to 4. Let's try what we're doing. Okay, so I'm just going to use this. Okay, yeah. Okay, so what I want to do is I'm now going to adjust this to ensure that the distance is not covering everything and it just has a lot of uniformity, right? So there you go. I have my details. Okay. Now this font needs to be my open source font. Okay. So I'm just having trouble now because I used the wrong font earlier. So now I'm just going to increase the line spacing so that it's uniform. Oh no, I need to do it for everything. Okay. So there we go. Now I have to adjust this to ensure that it's on. So these minor attention to details are the things that actually make your design top notch, right? If you are trying to rush everything, you definitely are not going to come up with a great design. All right, so this is very not difficult to do and quite simple. Okay. So I want everyone to take a stab at, I'm going to send a list of deliverables, right, that I want you to have ready for Friday. From Friday, I'm just going to go over what you've done, and then we're going to do like mock-up and presentation and even booklet design and stuff like that. Okay. And then you can even make a website from Canva as well, right? So I'm going to do all of that. Friday is our last class, by the way. So if you haven't made up all of your edits, right, please ensure that you do. Another thing that I'm also working on is to ensure that, so everyone has 2 hours of one-on-one consultation with me. It was supposed to end this month, but I figured that it would be nicer for it to extend. So I'm going to extend it for 2 more months. So if you haven't had it now, you can have it within the next 2 months. Okay, so maybe it might be more useful later when you're actually working on a live project for someone or whenever. Okay.
Yeah, Dave, question, please. When the class eventually ends, is there like a place where the videos can be? Is it possible to still leave the group chat just for reference purposes, or are they going to be on YouTube and they're not going to be deleted? Is there somewhere you can keep it for us to always go back?
They won't be deleted.
Okay, thank you.
Well, so the problem is, I'm thinking about this because it's a paid course, and well, so the videos are not public on YouTube, right? So only those who have the link have access to the videos. So yeah, I think I'll just leave it on YouTube because I mean, yeah, you guys are the ones that have access to it. Yeah, so it will be there on YouTube, and I'll leave the group as well in case you have questions and all of that. Any questions before we close? So I want you to take a stab at. So I've done a business card, I've done an Instagram post, I've done my brand guide. So I want you to take a stab at some of the other creatives like letterhead, envelope design, I'll send a list and I want you to try them out with your logo, come up with your creatives. You send me your Canva links before the next class. Okay, are we good?
Yeah.
Everyone, is anybody not on?
Yes.
Good.
Yes, sir.
All right. This is, so by next week, I'll give you some pro tips about, how to actually start your business as well. And then, because tomorrow, Friday is the last class, so I want to ensure that we cover up whatever we haven't finished up yet. Okay, so please ensure you do assignments so that you will, and I said, like, for the certifications, you're actually going to design your certificates. When you design it, you send it to me. I'm going to sign it before you can have it. All right, but I won't do that unless you have actually done all your assignments, right? So the last assignment you're going to submit is the certificate that you did for yourself, basically. So I'll give you a template and you have to replicate it, which is going to be your certificate. Okay, so, and then your portfolio as well. So I'll show you how to make your portfolio, put in all your work in it, and do good stuff. All right, thank you, everyone. Have an amazing night. Okay.
Thank you, dear.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye.